Hey folks, today we are comparing two of Holystone's latest drone models. Over here I have the HS720r and over here the HS360s. And full disclosure, Holystone did send these to me in exchange for some previous content that I made. But today I really wanted to bring these together head to head, as there are clearly advantages to each, meaning you may want to select one over the other. And I want to get into that in this video. So to start, I want to speak about the weight, because the HS360s comes in at just 249 grams, which means in some countries, including the US, you do not need to register the HS360s before takeoff. Whereas the HS720r, coming in at 389 grams, does come into that higher class of weight limit for drones, meaning it is likely going to be facing those extra regulations. So if you just want the sheer convenience of being able to take your drone out of the box and get it up in the air, then the HS360s definitely has an advantage in this department. On the other hand, the HS720r does carry a more substantial presence because of its increased weight. This can have multiple pros, for example, the fact that it is going to be more visible in the sky, especially for line of sight flying, which is the type of flying that I do, and also the fact that it is going to be more resistant to gusts and to wind. However, I would say that both drones, in terms of their build quality and overall capabilities, are a huge step up over Holystone's previous models. I myself have been able to fly many of Holystone's drones over the years, and by far and away, I would definitely now recommend either of these two models over their entire lineup. So now let's talk about the camera capabilities, and both drones do sport a sensor that allows up to 4K video capture. The HS360s supports this at 20 frames per second, whereas the HS720r supports full 4K at 30 frames per second. Or with the HS720r, you can record at 1080p at 60 frames per second if you want to capture a more cinematic look. So with the 720r, you will be getting smoother video playback. However, it also has a higher FOV at 140 degrees compared to just 85 degrees with the 360s. But when it comes to the camera and to the optics, the most distinct improvement with the HS720r over not only the 360s but all of Holystone's drone lineup is with its 3-axis gimbal. This is by far and away the drone that gives me the most stable footage of any of Holystone's drones that I have flown. And unfortunately, it brings me to a bit of a sour point with the 360s, because its lack of any hardware stabilization at all means it has perhaps the least stable footage I have ever seen with a Holystone drone. It's a shame, because the actual flight capabilities of the 360s and its sub 250 gram weight limit would otherwise make this the perfect drone. And talking of flight capabilities, both drones do perform very well. They each have upgraded GPS technology over Holystone's previous releases, and they fly very stable in my experience. You have the increased transmission range up to 3 kilometers, which is far more than I need because, as I mentioned earlier, I am a line of sight flyer. When I'm not using the control sticks, both drones keep their position very well. The only disadvantage in this department for the HS360s is that it has no optical sensors on the underneath of the drone, which means it cannot detect how high up from the ground that it is. And this is only really an issue when you are landing. It does come down quite speedily, so just bear that in mind to be a little bit cautious with landing the HS360s. With the HS720r, that's not a problem at all. It does have that underneath optical sensor and it does land at the appropriate speed. For battery life, I'm a little sad that both drones only each came with a single battery. The HS360s will provide up to 20 minutes of flight time, compared to the 720r's 26 minutes. It's a larger drone, so it has a larger battery, hence that increased flight time. It is generally enough for me, but if you are going to be taking these out and about quite regularly, I would suggest investing in at least another battery so that when you do run out of juice, you can swap that round without having to wait the few hours it takes to charge. But in terms of the overall flight performance, I do believe that Holystone have truly upped their game here with both of these models. They are both a vast improvement over what has come before from this company. If we can get the 3-axis gimbal of the 720R into a sub 250 gram drone, then I think we will have the definitive Holy Stone drone to take out on our flights. In terms of where these drones are similar to one another, well, neither has obstacle avoidance, so just be careful if you are flying where you are not at a greater height than the obstacles, as you could very easily crash. And both have safety features such as auto return to home, so if you did lose connection mid-flight, you know that your drone should be recovered when it returns to you by itself. They each have easy takeoff and landing, activated by a simple button press. They both have altitude hold, as I mentioned, and there is some adjustability in both cameras, with the HS360s allowing an adjustable camera angle from 0 to 90 degrees, and the 720R having an adjustable camera angle from 0 to 70 degrees. I definitely think that Holy Stone have factored into the equation not only performance but accessibility here with both models. So although I would say that these are both beginner drones, whatever your skill level, you should be able to get straight in without too much trouble. So in conclusion then, in comparing the HS360s to the HS720R, a number of factors should go into your decision. For the HS360s, the clear advantage here is in its sub 250 gram weight limit, meaning that for a budget beginner's drone to be able to be flown as stable as the HS360s can be flown without having to register it depending on your country, and with the fewest flying restrictions in place, this is certainly going to be a big draw. For the HS720R, however, yes, its increased weight means that there are going to be those increased regulations. However, also with that comes increased wind resistance, but by far and away the 3-axis gimbal here is a huge improvement over anything we've seen from Holy Stone before. So if you are looking to travel with your drone or are just a more casual user, then the HS360s may be the better choice. But if you want a beginner's drone that is more capable of pushing the boundaries when it comes to capturing cinematic footage, then the HS720R is definitely a worthy contender. But I do hope that this video has been able to help you folks. If it has, please do share any experiences of your own with these two drone models in the comments below. And don't forget to drop a thumbs up on this video, subscribe and hit the bell notification for future reviews and comparisons on this channel going forward. Thank you so much for watching today. Happy flying.